All right. All right, we're recording now. So thanks all for joining. This is our second call now about the UI kit and Penpot. I don't know what you call that, port or project. Do we all know each other already? Or who's new in this one? Should we do a,
Fairly,
sorry?
I'm new here.
Yeah. Should we do a quick round of intros, or should we just jump into it? What would you like to do?
Yeah,
Jump.
sure, I can introduce myself. So yeah, Vladimir here from Serbia. Briefly, studied design ages ago, 10 years or so, even more. And then I dropped out of the college, started working in logistics, and worked there for like 9 years or so. Tried to restart my design career 4 years ago, but my wife got pregnant with her first kid, so I had to go back to logistics. Now with two kids, like 3, 4, 5 months ago, I think I quit logistics again and started pursuing design career again. Hope this time for definitely.
Awesome. Best of luck to you.
Thanks.
And how did you come to something as niche as a Bitcoin UI kit? How did you?
Nostr.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
I mean, I'm in crypto for like 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know how long, but yeah, never tried anything in design in regards to crypto, but I found it on Nostr this time.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I can go. I'm Christoph. I've been in open source design stuff for 6 years, 3 years now with the Bitcoin design community, and I'm a maintainer of the UI kit. So I'm pretty much the one who says, well, let's not reinvent the wheels with naming and stuff. Let's keep it consistent because I'll probably maintain it in the future. But otherwise, I just try to support and help and chip in a little bit. And with this project now, I'm really excited about having all of you helping out.
I can go next. I'm Jakub. I'm currently in Warsaw, Poland. I'm a designer at Albi, and I love components, Figma / Penpot. I mean, Penpot components is still a tough relationship, like love-hate relationship. But I love. I was meaning to explore Penpot, at least a double in Penpot. So this is a great opportunity to try it out and see how these guys are developing it. Yeah, nice to meet you all, and we already with some of you we already are working in the file, which is great.
All right, I can go next. I'm newer. You guys don't know me. My name is Gian. I'm based out of Canada. So it's 6 a.m. for me, but I love being here. So that's why I jumped in anyway. I started in design in 2013 as a product designer. I did that for 6 years before moving on to product management. And more recently, I kind of had an itch of kind of diving back in, doing design work again, doing something real again. And when this came up and I heard about it, I'm like, okay, this is a thing where I can contribute, just be helpful, and yeah, contribute. So that's why I'm here.
Then I go next, maybe. I'm Eddie. I'm also a designer, full-time UX UI designer, freelancer, and also trying to be of help here and on other projects in an open source world. And yeah, that's for me.
Clear here. It's 6 a.m. as well, but excited to be on this call and be a part of the project. Been a long time entrepreneur, been looking into the Bitcoin space a lot the last few years and feeling a pull to contribute more. And so looking at my skill set and what I've done, realizing that most of what I did with my businesses that I really enjoyed centered around me being the informal UX UI designer for a lot of the stuff and really enjoying it. And so wanting to drill down into that, still very much beginner at Penpot and Figma, but so trying to observe a lot more, but looking to contribute when I can get through the tutorials of the Penpot and catching up to speed. So just looking to tag along and observe a lot.
Awesome. Thanks for all those intros. So let's dive in. I'll just give a quick overview here. So last week we had pretty much nothing or no structure, I think. And then we just started with this document here, which I'll also give you. I'll just give access during this, edit access during this call, because at the bottom we just keep notes. Like there's a section here for keeping notes. And so feel free to type. We'll use this as an ongoing place to keep call notes. And so I set up a Kanban board here. Well, we're reusing one that we already had for this project. So I'll share the link to that one as well. And this is not complete, but I try to just put some of the tasks in here. I think Chris added some of them as well. If you want to pick up one of those tasks, just leave a comment in one of them, and then I can assign you. It's just a permissions thing. And while everyone is invited to just freely work away on whatever they want, this helps a little bit, keep things organized, and there is a bounty involved. So at the end of the project, this also helps figure out a little bit who gets what, right? Because that moment in time will hopefully arrive if we get the bounty, right? So yeah, so maybe we can, I would just go over these real quick, and we could also go over the file. And I'm also kind of curious if everyone just wanted to share real quick what they did over the last week. I know Chris did a ton of stuff in here, but he's not here today. But what did the others do? The one thing that I looked into real quick is you can see on this page here, it's kind of hard to see because it's cut off. But this is actually, I tested the API. So this is just running locally on my computer, and it pulls this the UIKit file from the Penpot API, and that renders the colors, the text styles, and the list of all the pages in there. And I just looked into that a bit. It looks like the API, we could also potentially push updates back up. There's also the option to export Penpot files as JSON and SVG, which, let me see, so you get a kind of a file structure like this one. And for example, in the media folder here, every single one of these SVGs is an icon. So that means if we ever need to replace the icons or so, we can just download this whole thing, update those files, and upload it back again. So I think some of these, and that's something that I did with the Figma file as well. I wrote several custom plugins to do lots of maintenance stuff, like switching between dark light mode, finding remote components, all of this type of stuff, which I found helpful. So that's why I'm looking into, for example, the main UIKit website in the future. It could pull directly from Penpot and display components, display colors, anything else. And maybe if there's someone wants to use the UIKit, maybe they go through the website, customize a few things. Like for example, it could pull in the UIKit file. You could have a selector here to change the colors to your brand colors. And then you could push it back up, and then you would start working with it with a completely customized file already. So I don't know, there are lots of options there that are different from Figma. So I think that could be pretty cool. I don't know exactly how we can use it yet, but I wanted to open that door a bit. So that's what I looked into over the last week.
I think that's a cool, like showing those things which you can do with Penpot but cannot do with Figma is a cool kind of way to show, hey, this open source kind of opens up some opportunities which you cannot do in Figma, right? And that's cool that you're exploring that.
Yeah. So I'll keep going along that route a little bit further. So how about the others? What did you end up doing?
I was doing mostly form elements. Yeah, I did inputs, the small icon text button on the bottom, drop downs, then some more on the right side. Toggle, tag, tooltip, pagination dots, inline tabs, list, and loader are what was his name? Rufus? Ruth? Not me, anyway. The categories component also I did, and the list one on the top. Not this one, but on the top, the list desktop only.
Oh yeah, that's for the fee selector.
Yeah, and for some of these components, I needed to have icons, so I also adjusted those icons. I added those icons with the 30 pixel frame. I also changed the colors. Yeah, this is something maybe, Christoph, you can shine a light a bit. The color component's name have this letters and numbers in brackets.
Yeah.
And it's different I think in the UI kit it shows the ending or the beginning of light and dark colors. No, that's either that, but I think in the Bitcoin Core it shows the distribution of neutrals, right?
Yeah. So
I wasn't sure like which way we want to go. I think I did because the light colors were named correctly with, I think, both black, dark theme and light theme name, but the dark one had like a mistake. There was, I think this, there was some. No, sorry, I think I did it with the distribution here, and the dark colors had the last letters of the light colors, so I just changed them to dark colors. Yeah, that's it. I haven't updated anything on GitHub, but I did updated everything on the changelog, so I can move that to GitHub, I think. So it's in GitHub as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, and for the others, this is a bit confusing. So there are two sets of colors in the UI kit for light and dark mode. And the way that in Figma it works to switch between modes before the latest mode edition that's paid now, which we're not going to use because it is paid, and we want this to be free and open source, is that we have a light folder and a dark folder, and in there are a series of colors, styles with the identical names. So let's say you want to switch something from light to dark mode. You run a piece of code that basically goes through all the elements, figures out which ones have like light/orange applied, and switches it to dark/orange. It's like a simple replacement idea. And so we have a set of neutral colors. And here, this is what Jakub was referring to, those numbers here, because it's kind of hard to know like what is neutral 6, what's neutral 5. Sometimes the hex values are a little bit, at least for me, a bit more intuitive. And that's why the hex values here in the what is it, brackets, parentheses, whatever, added here, which may not be intuitive initially, but it is a little bit of a helper. And you said one of them has an error, right? One of them is not labeled correctly.
The dark ones had basically the light number, the light color hex in the name. In the as a defined color. So I just changed that.
Isn't it necessary for this plugin so that the naming is identical? And it's only, I think it's only for that reason, right?
Yeah, it needs to have both values in there in the same order, so the names are identical.
Yeah.
So maybe it's better to use the other pattern that we just use dark and light colors in brackets instead of neutrals distribution. Because I actually found when I was working on the Penpot, I found seeing the hex value useful because like I was copying the file from Bitcoin UI kit, and sometimes the color were not defined. I don't know if it's because I copied it or what, but I've seen the hex value. So then I just in the Penpot I just find that the same. I've seen the hex value in the color picker, so it was actually quite useful to use it that way. Yeah, I get why there has to be the same name.
Yeah. And here you can see the effect. So this is a custom plugin I created, and then you can just press this button here to switch between the colors.
You did variables before they were trendy.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, yeah. So, but I had a question about this. So in Penpot, is the only way to access the color variables here this bottom bar?
No,
the
you can
assets drawer.
also.
Yeah.
No. You can also do it when you just pull up a rectangle, and
Yeah.
you can do it on the color picker to the right, and then at the bottom, not recent colors but library colors. Yes. The thing is, it's unusable.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was where I was going
So
before. Yeah.
you have this two path, but it is right now it's unusable. You cannot pull up a list view where you would have the namings and sort, etc. It's just a bunch of circles.
Actually,
I mean, I was guessing, I was clicking and seeing the hex value just to double check.
if you go to the asset drawer on the left, you can search for the colors, but then you can only apply it, I think, as a fill, not as a stroke. Or
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you can apply it as a stroke. You have to hold Option or Alt on Windows, I guess, something like that. I think it was Option on Mac.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You hold Option. I mean, that's silly, but
so Option
it is
click. Okay. Nice.
Nice. Okay.
So I
little
have
things.
So just to close that parenthesis naming issue, there are two questions. First, we don't have this plugin in Penpot yet, so the questions will it? I mean, but it's still, even if it will not use it, it's probably good to have the same naming convention as in the UI kit. So in that, so should I just rename it exactly the same it's in the UI kit, or should we use, instead of visual distributions, just in both defined colors, just the light and dark endings?
So I would, just for consistency and maintenance sakes, I would love it if we could keep them identical. So let's say, at the end of the day, in whenever this is done, someone goes to bitcoinuikit.com. They can look at both files, and those color names will also be exactly the same. It's not like, oh, this file uses slightly different naming because of this UI thing, but it's just the same.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
For phase one, it's good.
Yeah. Because there are some bigger fish to fry, I think. So I think I saw somewhere in the Penpot community or somewhere that they might have an instance running of Penpot that uses the beta of the components v2. I think that would be cool if maybe we could get our hands on that. And I'm also wondering if they have maybe they have another beta running somewhere, potentially, I don't know, with the plugin system. Because something like themes we just need in the end. And I think I'm pretty sure that they're going to make that possible somehow. Whether it's, probably via plugin system. So we don't have, maybe we'll just not going to tackle that. Or we just look into it via the plugin system if there's a beta available. Otherwise, we can just plan for the future to build that. So we'll just use the colors as is, and then we'll just add that. We just not going to have an easy theme toggle for now, but hopefully we could add that then very soon.
More work with changing will be with the updated components v2, right? I mean, that would, I guess, if they update the color, how the color works or themes, that would be faster to change than updating all of the components. So if we can somehow run the beta with new components, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I think we should also. So Chris posted a few things on Twitter already. Sorry, that platform doesn't exist anymore. On the social media. And I think some Penpot people replied and thought it was cool. So they're definitely aware of what we're doing. So we could try to maybe find some contact person and see what we can do there.
Nice.
So I'm gonna put in the Google Doc in notes. I just put that in as reach out here. Penpot. Ask about data. What do you call that? Versions of the site with plugins and components. E2. That'd be cool. Also know from the API, I saw that they're still in heavy development of that and some stuff's changing. And one of the big issues was, which is so weird, here's the built-in the API documentation. And here, when you look at a function, here it shows the URL. It says like design penpot.app/API/RPC/commands/create access token. Sounds very easy, except that it's not commands, it's command. So none of these calls work. You have to figure out secretly somehow that there's an S too much in the documentation. It took me probably an hour or so to figure out until I
Did you loop it back to them?
No, I haven't yet, but I really should.
Yeah.
So weird. Okay, let them know about weird little stuff, and one function is not even available, even though it's documented and stuff. Okay, yeah, we should let them know about all of this stuff. There was criticism of the color styles in the picker. Okay, we can let them know about this. Okay, cool. Cool. Anything else? What else did you work on?
Okay, I worked on navigation components, and it mostly was me learning Penpot and playing with it, trying to figure out how it works. Mostly done, but it needs cleaning. I need to update some icons that are not there yet, and to match naming from Figma. Also, I added, I think, a couple of fonts that were not set as styles in Figma. Let me check. Yeah, there are a couple of fonts that were set as styles. So I put them under temporary folder. So not sure how we should organize them after. And what I did, I added transparent color. I need it for these labels because it shifts text when you remove. You cannot hide it like in Figma. So you just hide it, it keeps occupied that space. It moves that space. It's completely removed. So you need to have something there to hold that space.
Oh, so sorry. Which component is that?
Label in desktop top navigation bar. So what's called? It's desktop top navigation bar. This one.
Okay. Hold on.
So the one with the underline, orange underline. So when it's not selected, it has this underline, but it's transparent.
Transparent.
So 100%, not sure is that the way we should do it, but
yeah, that was actually even in Figma that was hacky until some recent auto layout updates. So yeah, I understand the problem you're running into. Yeah. There's no. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can it be a stroke which is on one side? I think Penpot supports that. It should work the same.
Try to find that, but I couldn't. I'm not sure that Penpot supports that.
Maybe it helps to wrap around something and not hide the wrapper, but the content of the wrapper that is actually holding the color, for example, and maybe it will not eat free up the space, but the wrapper will keep it there. This is something I did most of the time in Figma, just wrap around and not hide the wrapper.
What do you mean by wrap around and wrapper? Like is an empty frame? Or?
No, yeah. In auto layout, it was just the possibility. I called it a wrapper, but it holds it again with one layer of auto layout. But I don't know if Penpot would behave the same, more or less. Just need to play around.
Like bottom padding there.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much. Because you can set padding differently from top, bottom, left, and right. You could just have that bottom padding.
That's cleaner.
That should work.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, awesome.
I added one kit helper component as well, just for temporary notes. I find it handy because a lot of things are missing, so I don't forget. When I need to update something, I just put it there because comments are not visible. You need to click the comment icon, and then you see comments. So I mean, we can remove that after.
Yeah.
Oh, good to know about the comments.
Yeah, there are no indicators on the main screen. You just have to click through them. Yeah. Hey, Vladimir, real quick, is there anything that I should assign to you in this Kanban board that you're working on, or should we just to keep track of what you're doing?
Well, yeah, I planned to finish this navigation, and I guess, I don't know, after that, whatever is available, I can do anything. So,
Navigation.
Chris said I can do lists, so I guess I can do lists.
Convert to issue here. So, yeah, if you just leave a comment on this one, then I can assign you. Adding it to the Penpot milestone, adding the Penpot label. Okay, and if you wanted to do lists too, yeah, if you just leave comments on both of these, then I can assign you here. That's just what it requires.
Okay.
Cool. And so, question for you: How is your experience right now with Penpot? Are you really smooth? Are you kind of stuttering, stumbling across things? Are there some stuff that could be improved a lot?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's smooth as it can be.
You're muted now.
Okay, so Penpot. Honestly, I'm not thrilled by it. I love open source. I love free stuff. I hope these guys make it great one day. But in its current state, it's, I mean, really not it. And it's not the feature set or how some things are set up or designed, like assets or styles, but mostly performance and bugs. That's what's bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we open this icons page, it has like, how many? I don't know, 200 icons, something like that. And you can open Figma, for example, like 5,000 icons or something like that, and it works smoothly. But here it really lags. And we have these feedbacks, for example, this one with line height. So I got a feeling like guys from Penpot should probably take a step backwards and work on foundations, on basics to improve performance and iron these bugs out, then to build up the features. I mean, we would be fine here without components, but bugs and performance are something I would love to have first, then the features.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, I do hope that with a project like this one here, it will actually help them also move forward, and by getting some attention, getting more designers in there, getting some support, and pointing them towards the things that bug us.
Yeah, exactly. My view is that this project is more about Penpot than about Bitcoin UI Kit, because we can help them more than we can help Bitcoin UI Kit, because Bitcoin UI Kit is already kind of fine in Figma. I mean, yeah, there's some stuff you need to pay for and do workarounds, but it's still fun. But Penpot, they definitely need to, up their game and improve their product.
I'm wondering, should we track I'm kind of thinking how because I feel like we already have a lot of either bugs to report or problems we encountered, and they're kind of lost. They're in our heads or they're kind of commented on Discord. I wonder if we should have a separate file where we kind of add, like, just gather all of it, kind of track it, and maybe even prepare like a document, like a report to Penpot team at the end of the project, where we just can send all of it to them.
The thing is, Penpot has a good community, and they have also developed the company behind it developed their own Kanban and issue tracker called Tiger, and it's open for everyone to join and put in all the bugs, feature requests, etc., inside there. So I don't think it's a good idea to track it in a separate document and just bombard them with one huge issue document. But every time we see something, I think it's easier here, what Christoph is showing, to figure out, is there already a ticket maybe, and support the ticket with new encounters or documentation, screenshots, movies, clips, whatever. And if not, open up something, and maybe we can just have like a template and coming back and linking back to the Bitcoin design community and effort, what we're doing here right now, so that they see that where they can ask the questions directly, or experience maybe the same issues on the file or something like that.
Yeah, so I agree and I disagree both probably. So it's really awesome if everyone goes in and goes to the issue tracker and has those conversations. But I totally also understand if someone doesn't want to do that and deal with it. So if let me know. Please hop in and do this stuff if you want to. If not, just let me know, and I will try to file all these bugs and have those and follow along with those conversations. If you just want to focus on Penpot and design, that's totally cool too. So just let me know. I'll try to help.
Cool idea. Yeah. That's of course maybe even the more efficient way to have someone like a manager managing stuff in this case.
Well, they call it, that's the PMs, they call themselves janitor in open source, right? The stuff no one wants to do.
Of course. Yeah, but it needs to be done.
Yeah. So
sounds good.
And if you want to, we have this changelog page here in Penpot. Right next to it, there could be a bug log as well, if you want to keep it just all in one document, and or just the Google Doc that I just shared. Either one's fine. Maybe if it's in Penpot, you can just put it right there. Just write down, I'm doing this and this is not working, or I wish this was that way, or so. Or leave a comment, or just let me know in some way. Do you want to use the changelog page or create a bug log page? Or what would you prefer?
I would even suggest a bug log page where everyone can also in a defined pattern way insert a clip or a screenshot, describe it, and maybe link it to the Tiger or Google Docs. So everything on a growing page would be nice. Maybe I could tackle this and go through the Discord stuff, what we have right now, and put it on that page. Also janitor work.
Okay. Okay, awesome. I'll just take a note of that real quick. The others are good with that?
Yep. That would be awesome.
Okay, cool. So anything else? Anything else you worked on that we should go over?
Maybe I can real quick. I didn't work on anything yet, but as I already posted today, for everyone who wants to use a desktop application and not be in a browser, there is a third-party open source project heavy in development, already on 3 platforms as far as I saw it. You can go at the top on the Penpot desktop, and you will find also Windows environment. It's basically a wrapper that is launching everything inside this wrapper, and you can, on the top right, if you scroll a little bit down, Christoph, on the screenshot at the top right, you see a gear icon. That's basically the only button when you start it up, and there you have a little description what to do, and you need to put in either your own Docker environment, HTTP, Docker, localhost, etc., or, and everything is described there, the official Penpot, design.penpot.app environment, and then restart the application, and then it will load up everything. So just to quick start it. Play around with it. I like desktop environments because they're way easier on the mouse gestures, etc., and you're misclicking and misbehaving way less. And sometimes with Figma, I like also the performances. I don't know, maybe it's placebo, but at the end of the day, I'm happy with placebos.
So it seems like this is basically just loading a browser inside a desktop wrapper.
Exactly, but it's the same what Figma is also doing. Nothing fancy. But you have a dedicated app where you you are not overloading it with other tabs and stuff, and maybe it helps.
Yeah, but
You're muted again. There we go.
Yeah, I said it works. Sorry, I said it works faster and a lot faster. So whatever they did, it's faster.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I will also definitely give that a try. And here the author says they need an Apple developer account.
No. It's about, Christoph, it's about when you start up this application on a Mac system, it will not open up because it's not certified. But at the top, you see that the newest version there, the first launch update 30 is the little information box. It says with the version 0233, it's not necessary anymore. For me, and I did it today, I updated the app to this version, it still did. So you need to go to system settings and then just allow the start of this application once.
Yeah. I was just going to say, if that bounty works out, maybe we can get this person an Apple developer account.
Yep.
Give back a little bit if it really helps us with our workflow. Okay, cool. What else? Anything else in the file?
Icons, many icons.
Awesome.
So only the first row, I believe, of the 4 or 5 rows there is close to done. I think there's a bit of a conversation happening in the top row around the Bitcoin icon. So what I want to do is I'm not trying to reinvent anything here. I really want to just stick to either the Figma file or else there's a Bitcoin icon kit as well. And there's a little bit of a disagreement around what that Bitcoin icon should be. I'm happy to go with whatever we think is what it should be. And then the rest, yes, they need to get cleaned up and turned into components.
You mean this
over here?
One?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure who wrote the comment.
It's me.
Yeah.
I told you, Christoph, about this some time ago, right? I guess the outline icons should have the dark Bitcoin logo, although it's, I guess, up to design decision.
Yeah, so it's a little bit tricky because it gets so small. It's like 16 pixels or so, and it's pretty intricate with the outline. It's not an ideal solution, and it's not great that it's just a line for the small one, and then as it gets bigger, it becomes like a filled shape. I don't know.
It actually the medium one was the line. The small one was the outline.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been perfectly happy with the outline ones. It's especially at the smaller size, because it just blurs, like the shapes just kind of blur together. I don't know. Maybe that's something that we just, I don't know, maybe not something specific that we need to solve in this project. We can just take, whatever's out there and just move on. But yeah, at some point that needs to be looked at. I think there's also an issue with this B here not being perfectly visually centered in the shape. That's also been lingering for a little bit. It might be geometrically centered, but visually it's not centered.
Just letting the auto layout do it, but I'll double click and see.
Yeah, I actually think it happened in the original file because someone took the B shape, rotated it 45 degrees or 14 degrees, and then centered it, but that leads to geometric centering, not visual centering. That's where that originally stems from. Yeah, the icon set. So I would assume the main icon set that's also exported as code modules and whatnot that make it super easy for developers to implement. I would probably keep that still in Figma for the future, because I wrote a custom plugin that helps with the export workflow, which is like 400 lines of code, because SVGs are very, very particular and very fragile. So there's like that code strips all kinds of things, and it flattens shapes and simplifies outlines and borders and all of this stuff just to make the SVG output usable in the end. There's a difference between exporting an SVG and just kind of throwing it into a page versus the quality or the detail it needs when you make it available as an NPM module. So I think it's fine if the Penpot icons, they're built for designers. And then the Figma ones can, be the hyper optimized ones that have this whole export workflow attached for those code modules. If that makes any sense. It's a huge mess.
I think that's fine. I'll continue with the renaming as well, just in case in the future there is something that we can do to align the two.
Okay, awesome. And it's interesting. I looked at when I got the data from the API. It seems like the SVG data is stored as an object. It's like there's a series of instructions you get for every shape. It says, start a line over here, then draw a line over there, then draw a curve over there. So I'm actually wondering if we could, from that data, just automatically, like we wouldn't need an export really. The website could just pull in and render all those icons from the source file. And then if there's a developer, they could just pick like what naming convention they want. It's like make it all underscore with lowercase, and then the web page could pretty much automatically prepare files for export for them. So that's an additional option that could potentially work out. There are probably lots of really minor pitfalls, but that would make it so that designers in Penpot, they just don't have to worry about anything with the developers, because we would have this external tool that's used where the developers can get things exactly the way that they want. So a bunch of stuff to figure out, but I'm kind of excited about it. There'll just be a lot of details in there. So I have a question around the icons. So we have this folder structure here. So we have icons, then there's main, gear, and in there's outline small. So gear, the small outline version of the gear, the component is just called outline small, right? So we have a lot of components floating around that are called outline small. So I wanted to ask about the workflow right now. Is the best workflow, so let's say I want to have a button. Where is our main button even? Is the main button not in here?
The search doesn't work well.
You need to have the name that you're searching for in the...
Yeah.
It has to be in the component's name. This is why I've been
okay.
doing so much like back and forth
sense.
with the icons to make it usable in the future.
Okay, so I'm basically looking for filled/active, no?
Thing is, naming that the names don't match in this asset drawer and on the canvas. So here is what outline small, but in assets panel it's icon/gear/outline and then big, medium, small.
Is it not? So is it basically not possible to find this button here in the search in the assets tab? Or what's the trick there?
I think you'd have to name the component button. Like you'd have to add all those characters.
You need to
not
put
from
the
here, though.
side. Yeah.
Go to the asset tab and then right click on the button if you can find it. And then
close the components, collapse it, and you have a little bit more. Yeah. No, sorry, not the components. Sorry. Everything is closed.
Yeah.
But here, you cannot close these ones. They are like without a subfolder, and then when you scroll a little bit down, button is starting.
Okay, but I cannot search for it.
No.
Okay. And then every size and combination is a unique one. So I just wanted to ask. So I cannot go here, say, well, I really want this to have an icon. I have to go here, grab a different one. And now if I want to change the text, that's pretty easy. I'll just do blah, blah, blah. And then if I want to change the icon here, I would actually have to go to, let's say, what is it? I'd have to drag this in, right?
It will not work.
I think you need to...
And then delete this one. Or if I want to move the icon, I can just do this. And then if I want to change the color, I have to go in, select the shape.
A lot of manual work, no overrides, nothing.
And then I have to do this.
Yeah, so if they have a beta for what their like future components are, like it'd be great to see that early so we can make sure to align to that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's probably going to be rework at that point.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for joining, Jakub. Okay, got you. I just want to understand that this is actually the workflow that we have to use right now. So I don't know how you work typically, but even in especially with the UI kit, the way I work is I mostly copy paste things because there are already several hundred screens in there. So after a while, you pretty much have a variation of everything somewhere. And then it's mostly copy paste. So maybe that also simplifies things a little bit.
Yes, but problem is that every component is an instance, basically. So you need to make sure that they could right click it and click update. If you forgot that, you lose the master component or main component.
So you're saying that hold on, I'm in the wrong project here. So in here, I can mess things up if I update main component.
Please don't. Exactly. You are basically, it's really with a hammer method. You're really updating what you just started by dragging it in.
Yeah. I mean, that was the main issue. That was a big issue in Figma as well, where if they have multiple editors on a file, they can go in and do whatever they want, and you would just never know. Right. That's one of the advantages where maybe not right now, but in the future I see Penpot. So I don't think Figma will ever make their branching and merging features open source or freely available. They're hiding more, not hiding, but putting more stuff behind paywalls, very, very expensive paywalls. So if Penpot can even come up with a very basic version of where someone can propose an update to the button component, and someone else, like some maintainer, can review it and say, okay, and then it gets automatically merged in there. There's some type of record of what happened. Then I think Penpot is really ahead because it's enabling new things, even if it just does it a very basic version of that. And I am wondering if that's something that we could potentially do with our own web tool. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, it's all fragile. It's just how it is. By the way, is there a history tab somewhere? I don't even know.
At the top right where you have this clock. But I think it's unusable right now.
I mean, I never found it usable in Figma either. Let's take a look.
It's just guessing around, clicking around, and then wondering why nothing happens. Because also the performance is lagging behind your clicks.
And so yeah, I see a history. What happened? I click something, then what? It tries to undo that?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And that's exactly this. You click around, nothing happens, and then yeah.
So, somewhere something may have happened, just not where you're looking at. Okay.
That's why it's so important to save a Penpot file before you do anything. At the end, we will have a lot of Penpot files flying around on a lot of machines worldwide.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Yeah, it's good to just update the file name to, put in your initials and maybe a date or something, and then you can kind of keep track of the history. Okay, I'm also going to put that as in the notes. History is cryptic. Not clear what to expect on click, and changes on click also not obvious. Okay.
Maybe we should really have not only a bug log, change log, but also a feature log page where we just keep track of, as you just said, have an outlook what features would be nice, and then always sync with the Penpot team.
Yeah, and of course, even one step up would be to, let's say someone wants to improve history, just design the way you want it, describe how it should work, and then just post that, and then they're not just left with a problem to solve, but they actually know how actual users would want this to work.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. And then find a developer to implement it, and then we can just fix it ourselves, open source style. Okay, cool. Anything else? We have about 5 minutes left to the hour. How do you, after 1 week, how do you feel about this whole effort? Good, ready to go, ready to jump in more? Is it clear what to do next?
Overall, I'm just a lurker and was, reading a lot and seeing a lot of progress and not adding anything else. But I like where we are heading because a lot of hands right now working on it. Nevertheless, it's not complete chaos. We're getting organized organically, and I like the progress so far in a week.
Yeah, it is a lot, for sure. How about everyone else?
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot in a week, but still, I'm not sure about Penpot, honestly. Yeah.
For you, it's the bugginess, the responsiveness, the main deal breaker.
I really want it to work, but
it will. It will. Give it time.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah, I mean,
never forget Figma had the same progress, right? Coming from Sketch to Figma, there was a time where you also stumbled on your own fingers and muscle memory.
Yeah, but the thing that worries me, when project starts and it's buggy and slow and it adds more and more features, it never turns out well. For example, one good open source project that is, battling with big guys now is Blender. And I remember 20 years ago, Blender didn't have features, but it always was fast and without bugs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly a good feedback, you could give them, because they are always looking to Blender as a, inspiration. This is just a feedback loop.
That's my point. You need to take a step back and work on basics,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. In the last couple of years or so, whenever I tried out Penpot, I had the same thing. I was 50% slower because small stuff like, I would tap through things or click things and try to quickly move something around. And I kept stumbling because it's the thing that I wanted to have selected, what I thought I had selected wasn't selected. It was like something else still because I was too fast for the interface. Or something got lost along the way, and when I was just clicking and interacting very fast, and then I just kept stumbling over things all the time. So yeah, that makes a huge difference, and Figma really nails that.
I'm optimistic about this in part because if you remember kind of where this all started with the Human Rights Foundation, in a way, what we're doing in Penpot is not necessarily for us in a way. It might be for somebody who's new to design, wanting to kind of get started somewhere. And doesn't have any capital or any money to kind of spend on Figma, trying to spin up a project. And so if we can keep that kind of short-term goal in mind, thinking about the long-term that this sets up as hopefully Penpot continues to get better over time. And yeah, I think this is a first step towards bigger and better things. And it's not going to be a Figma replacement. And so I think in that spirit, I think we're doing the right thing here.
I do hope that it'll be more like a Noster thing where you have this open ecosystem.
Yeah.
People building different tools for different workflows. And if that happens, then Penpot itself actually has to do a bit less. But Figma has to do everything. Of course, they have plugins, right? But if it could turn out that this becomes more open and more flexible and more fun ecosystem around Penpot, which I would really love to see that.
At the end, we are the guys who will, struggle the most, jumping between Figma and Penpot in our daily business.
Yeah, but even with Bitcoin, we did not pick the easiest path here, or Noster for that. For that, I mean, imagine all the stuff that you deal with Noster, where it barely even works these days. Yeah. But
the
also,
price for freedom.
Yeah, you need pain tolerance. Okay, awesome. Cool. So, everyone good to just keep working at things, or, I mean, we can just always keep talking on Discord. Was that intentional, Eddie?
Of course not.
Okay, cool.
The UI of Jitsi is also something to fix.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Then I'll stop the recording and we can wrap things up. So thanks all for anyone for listening in or watching this, the recording later.